all of these different people I met, they are all so strong. They just like push through every day. And so that's kind of how the name I Love the Way You Lyme came to be about, because it's like I love the way that you're handling this disease.
You're sick inside your body.
I was thinking back to how we originally met, and I can't remember if we actually met here, if you're in the background. The first Lynchstock was where what was the name of the band that you played for Lynchstock? I could not remember for the life of me.
Glass Oaks.
I remember you guys playing and like just being blown away, and then there's pictures from that Lynchstock of, and one of them I'm singing and you're like right here in the background watching. I don't remember if we met at that Lynchstock, but that's where I was like first introduced, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember where we touched base, but like all I remember is somehow we kept in contact or whatever. But I remember at some point, it was after I wrote the song Sick and Tired, and I think you were going to help me like arrange it or put me in touch with someone to help me record it. It was something like that. And I remember coming over to your house in East Nashville. You lived like right around the corner from my old house.
Yep.
And sitting down in the little like kitchen and singing you the song. And I like have looked up to you as like a songwriter and musician. So I remember thinking like, oh, this is so cool. And then telling you what the song is about. And then and you helped me arrange like some different things. And I remember you helping me like, well, you should say this instead of this. And anyways, I remember you saying, either you said my family has Lyme disease or I have Lyme disease or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really know anyone with Lyme at the time. And so I just remember thinking, this is so weird. Like I asked him for his advice for music reasons and like had no idea you even had Lyme. So, and then I don't remember if I Love the Way You Lyme even existed then, but since then you've kind of just been like someone. You played at the first I Love the Way You Lyme show with me. You played guitar, right? And we sang Sick and Tired together.
Yeah. That was 2017. Yeah. That was the year I moved here.
So crazy. Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about the Lyme. Let's start with the Lyme stuff first. So how long, I don't know if you like still think you have Lyme, or I'm not really remembering everything. So just explain, I guess, like your Lyme background for to start off.
Yeah. So real quick to recap, we wrote with Vacation Manor. We finished that song. We were trying to finish that song with Vacation Manor, and it was
we
rehearsed at Evan Gilfillian's little shed that off of John and Taylor's place. I think
that was cool.
Devin lived there with them too at the time.
Yeah,
right off of like Porter Village, and but yeah, the history of my Lyme disease. I looked into it since 2017 and started looking into it in 2018 when you did the other event. Or was that 2019? I can't remember. But the point being is...
Yeah, 2018 was the first, and then 2019.
That's right. It was the year after I moved here. And... yeah, so I started looking into it, asking my mom for like records or whatever, because I got Lyme disease when I was like 4, and we went to an elementary school called Deer Park, so we were by trails that were overpopulated with deer that had become semi-domesticated in this suburban area, and we were just petting them and hanging out with them and. Whenever we went on family walks.
Oh my God.
That's when it happened. So, and we were totally in the dark and had never heard about Lyme disease. I got bit, started throwing up profusely, went to the hospital, got antibiotics, was there for like 2 months with the intravenous or an IV. And what I found out is I actually went into remission, but there were residual effects. We're talking about everything from anxiety to depression to I think it definitely compounded issues with my ADHD. If it didn't, my ADHD didn't stem from
Yeah.
it. But these are the things that make Lyme disease so complex and such a difficult issue to tackle because it's herpetic. It shows up differently in everyone. How are they supposed to treat something that shows up differently in everyone one way? And, that's why antibiotics get used. And I'm not saying it's the worst thing, but some people's immune systems don't recover from those shocks. And luckily mine did. I went into remission.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly like some neurological issues.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, my sisters and mother did not fare so well. My mom was bedridden for about 14 years with a lot of autoimmune disorders, connective tissue disorders, stomach issues, and leaky gut syndrome. And my sister, Kairis, she wound up for the past almost 18 years now. Well, I'd say she was chronically ill with an autoimmune disorder for about 14 years after she got it. About 3 years after I got it, maybe 2 years after I got it.
Crazy.
She didn't seem to go into remission as much and had fibromyalgia. Was the main thing.
Yeah.
Chronic pain, chronic fatigue. Genevieve experienced a lot of similar things as well. And I think all of us had some level of neurological damage. Definitely. I mean, I don't know if you've studied it, but how the hypothalamus gets affected in a lot of people. Temperature gauging, like your body being able to rate.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Temperature and memories get affected heavily out of the hypothalamus. And like whoever's watching, if I'm totally off mark here, just like come with facts. This is all about discussing the issues.
No,
right?
not from any. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's why. So first of all, well, everything that you've said so far between your story and then your family's, like I've heard from many different people. I also have experienced mostly everything that you said. And that's the thing is like, that's kind of why the artists that we have for I Love the Way You Lyme, the ones we've done and then the ones that are upcoming, like they're on all different scales. So I have people who like more stories like you where they were maybe bit when they were younger at some point and it's like not super apparent, oh, this is like, it has like lingering things like you said, like the neurological, like depression, anxiety, ADHD. Because I remember talking to you back then and you saying like, yeah, I had it back then, but I don't know if it still affects me, but I still have these things. And since then, like those are the ADHD, depression, anxiety, like those are so common with people who have Lyme. I'm sure there's going to be people who would see a clip from this on our social media or end up listening to the episode and are like, oh no, they have depression, ADHD, that's not from Lyme. But what I always say is if you have all these people who were first bit by a tick, had Lyme, and then the other things that come, I don't know, it's just so controversial. But to me, I just don't think it's coincidence that these people who like have Lyme or have record that they have Lyme and then they later struggle with the long-term like neurological stuff, that it's a coincidence. But yeah, you're always going to have people say whatever they want, but no matter what, two things are true. The Lyme was positive at some point and then you have like the neurological stuff, and like you said, I think that's why it's like so hard to like I guess diagnose, but even then makes it difficult for them to like know how to treat. So I do think it's changing though, because I think that it's becoming, I said before, like I don't know if it's more prevalent or if it's just like testing is more, people are hearing about it more so they know to ask. But I remember when I first was diagnosed not knowing anyone, and my doctor in LA telling me in 5 to 10 years everyone's going to know someone with Lyme because it's an epidemic. And then now, so that was 2017, and now we're how many years later? And
He was saying
it's
that
like more
17?
common. You'll hear even like celebrities say that they had it.
Yeah, Avril Lavigne and everything.
She was, yeah.
Justin Bieber. I mean, people don't take it seriously because they're like, oh, that's a celebrity.
Shania Twain.
Yeah, Shania Twain. And the irony is that your specialist was saying in 2017 you'll know 10 people or whatever, 10 more people with Lyme disease. I got Lyme disease in 95.
Yeah.
Like, and it was, people were running around saying it was an epidemic then. Like, at least specialized groups of people were actually trying to do the studies. So, who knows? I know that in high school, a lot of people were sharing that they had Lyme disease, and I was like, oh man, I had that when I was a kid. Like, overpopulation of white-tailed deer in Northern Virginia, Maryland, DC area, DMV, all around the East Coast is really a major issue. And I don't even want to get into origin stories. People think I'm some kind of conspiracy theorist.
I know.
Yeah.
No, there's books. I know. I actually don't even, I have them sitting in my cabinet over there, but I haven't had the guts to open up some of them because it's just gonna make me more angry. Maybe one day I'll like sit down, but I already have so much like whatever. It's not even worth discussing, but so that's so crazy. So
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so with the like depression and anxiety, and then you said like the ADHD, so did you have stuff that like helps you manage it, or do you find that it's still like a thing?
I mean,
would you say?
I don't take anything for depression. Last time I had a psychological evaluation and I was in therapy, I was diagnosed with like mild depression. So it's not crippling, it's not it's not manic, it's not moderate even. And my anxiety has definitely, I guess there's like different forms of anxiety. Running a business now, I'm like, that is major anxiety, but it's not the same. It's not so existential or like you're saying, like, it's not so fueled by anger. Like, I can't believe all these terrible things have happened to my family, and it's totally out of my control. It's like, I've learned to manage that because I didn't do anything. It's not my fault. And it's also like, my responsibility is to take care of myself so that I can help others. But it's definitely, I don't know. It's definitely managed better. Maybe I'm distracted from doing work, but it's managed better than it used to be. I really, for ADHD, it's just about getting disciplined in a positive way, not like beating myself up, but just like becoming more disciplined, becoming more organized. Just taking little what's that book? Taking baby steps. The book is called Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits? Yeah,
it's been a good resource. So I mean, I got lucky. That's the truth. The harsh reality is that my mother still deals with leaky gut syndrome, connective tissue disorder, extreme bloating from even if she has her diet managed, it's all from this autoimmune disorder stemming from Lyme disease or these systemic issues that stem from it. And Kairos still dealing with migraines. My dad gets migraines. He got Lyme disease. My whole family got it. And
it's so crazy you all had it. It's so nuts.
Yeah, and even my brother-in-law got it, and he had wasting disorder. had to leave his job, move back home to Virginia where they are now, and like
Wow.
it's heavy, and we gotta, what I'm trying to get at is
Yeah, it
like
is.
there are few solutions, little research and development, and very little
Yeah.
government grants or money allocated towards these missions. And here I am in Nashville, and our
Yeah.
tax dollars are going towards building another Titan stadium. Like, I know that Lyme might not
Oh my
be
gosh.
massively prevalent in Nashville per se or Tennessee, but the fact that, like, I know they're separate industries, healthcare and sports
Yeah.
entertainment and all that, but like there's something there's something that's got to shift, like preventative care,
It's going to though.
all care.
I just know. Yeah, it's going to. It has to. Like, um, I don't know. We can talk more about this like after the episode
Yeah,
because
yeah,
like
yeah.
there's so many things that I'm like I don't know. I just know it's gonna have to change, and I don't know, I probably sound crazy saying that, but I really just don't think I am. And I don't
Yeah.
think it's gonna be like one day everything's better and they're just gonna like not build a Titan Stadium and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
it's just there's gonna have to be some sort of change. Even them not taking it through insurance. Like
sure.
there's no way that this stuff can keep going on. These people can't even get I shouldn't say these people, like just like they can't get help, because nothing's covered by insurance. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I do think things are going to change slowly but surely because I just think they are. But
Well, you're part of the
it's just
change.
so crazy
Sure.
that your whole family has it, and it yeah, yeah, no, um I think that it is heavy and it can be heavy, and I do think like there are moments to like touch on that because it's almost like I was just saying this the other day. It's almost like there's two worlds. So there's like the world of anyone that like has Lyme or knows someone that has Lyme understands everything just like
Right.
from experiencing it. Like you just like you get so much. And then there's the other world where like no one knows anything about it, and like how do you communicate? You can't even possibly communicate everything that you would want to someone who doesn't know a thing about it. You have to like, you know what I mean? It's like trying to like speak another language almost because it's just so in depth. But I think like
Sure.
that's one of the things that I'm hoping we're able to do with I Love the Way You Lime is like we're not going to be there's a lot of awesome different like Lyme groups who will like post facts and resources and stuff like that. And I think that that's amazing. But to me, I just want to focus on like people telling their stories. And
Right.
even like the amount that you told, like that's like enough because then maybe someone listening, like they'll either feel heard or understood, or maybe they'll like go, think to go get tested or whatever. And
That's,
then we could talk about how bad the testing is, but that I don't even want to talk about that
oh
either.
my God. Oh
Um,
my.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
The treatments are lacking. The research and development of better treatments is lacking. And
hmm
not just in this, but, I'm talking about not just in Lyme disease, but my fiance, Brooke, she's got autoimmune disorders as well. And she
mm,
diseases, I'm sorry, autoimmune diseases as well. And she,
yeah,
there's even less research in the health issues that she has. And it, I don't know.
mm.
Healthcare is broken in America, so maybe we do a whole nother podcast on that. But
Yeah,
yeah, I really
yeah, for real,
can't um,
man.
can't express how frustrating it is. But that's why we're here talking about it, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. Um, So tell me, let's talk about, I don't know, what are you talking about first, music or SpokeTek? I want to talk about both for you.
It's tough. Music's on hiatus, but it's definitely it's the root of
Mm-hmm.
where SpokeTek came from. So maybe we just meet where that all converged. PLSR
Yeah.
Kaiser was this project I was working on with my friends Andrew and Brandon, and we had been working on it all of 2019, or a lot of 2019, with Melanie Gohan, animator out of Paris, France, and she sent us along some of the final cuts of it, and early 2020. And as I'm looking over it, I'm thinking, man, we got to build promo for this. We got to, I need the characters wireframed or puppeted so I can just reposition them for social content. I'm a graphic designer.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, I do frame by frame. You can buy them off me for a certain price. And it was well worth the price of the music video because it looks really good. Check it out when you can. Heat. But
Yeah.
anyways, so I'm learning how to puppet characters myself in Adobe Character and then like map their faces out with nodes and control the facial movements, facial expressions with face tracking. And I'm doing all this, getting ready to do like stories for the Pleaser account and then, social media posts. I'm figuring it out. And I'm also, it's COVID all of a sudden hits. It's the end of the world. I've got time to figure that out. I'm writing poetry, even though I'm not a poet. And I write this poem called Desvanece de la Pared, and it does not translate properly to Spanish, or to, from Spanish to English, English to Spanish. And that's the point. It means fade from the wall, or it's supposed to mean fade from the wall. It doesn't quite translate that way. And it's all about loss of linguistic cultural identity. I had seen my grandma Helen on my mom's side, visited home when COVID hit, just like thinking, I got to see my family before it all goes down. Was watching the news cycle very closely and talk about anxious. But anyways, I visited her and just there was a very significant moment where I saw this native, this indigenous art because she would help do outreach on reservations here in America, and she's and she also had a lot of New Mexican art and folk art around her living room because she was born and raised in New Mexico. Her first language was Spanish. And so, anyways, I'm working on the characters. I'm working on this poem. And the poem's all about like how those pieces of art have like faded. They're all like sun bleached, the framed pictures on the walls, pottery. And she had been there since I was a kid, so it's like it's bound to happen. But there was something about how she doesn't really speak Spanish anymore. She only speaks English, and how she laid down her culture to assimilate, to allow her kids to assimilate more readily. My mom, my aunt, and my uncle. And I was like, man, that's terrible. That's terrible that people have had to fall. Millions and millions of people throughout all of America's history have had to lay down their cultural identity, linguistic cultural identity, what they speak, and fit into a mold so that they don't face racism or don't encounter inequitable situations. You know what I mean? And so, anyways, I'm working on all that. Just a light went off and I stayed up. I'm telling you, 3 days in a row. I was just journaling and writing stuff down. I was making logos for the company, and it all came clear. And I started racing towards it. Got a little bit of funding from my Oba on my dad's side. He's an engineer, or was an engineer. And
this turned into SpokeTek, right?
Yeah, that moment that where I was that poem, the face tracking, and I was like, if we could just change people's mouths to match the audible speech-to-speech interpretation in a setting like this, in a video conferencing setting, that would be transformative. And the more I researched it, all the solutions are what's called post-rendered solutions. So you have to wait for a minute or two for your mouth to change to the translation or the audible interpretation to sync up with the audible interpretation. And so
Wow.
what we're working on is real-time translation dubbing, or
Translation?
real-time speech translation dubbing. And but it's like it's through your face. It's and we're starting in telemedicine. So I don't know, maybe our work briefly on I Love the Way You Lyme definitely got me thinking about, and my family, you know, going in and out of the hospital most of our lives, like and just being with Brooke
Yeah.
too, and seeing her have to go in and get these treatments. I was just like, nothing is working at these hospitals. No, like, whether it's you know, machinery or someone, you know, or an individual, like, things aren't working frictionlessly. And the whole thing in telemedicine and even hospitals, everything's, you know, we're working towards frictionless healthcare. And I was like, man, I don't know. Everything seems pretty broken from the top down, bottom up. Like, there's got to be a way of making communication more clear. And, you know, I'm not fixing infrastructure of healthcare or digital health care. I'm just focusing on one little part I think will help different, you know, different cultures be reached by telemedicine without borders initiatives, doctors without borders initiatives, and just take care of making that side of things frictionless. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. That's where, you know, SpokeTek is incorporated. We're building, and music has been on hiatus for almost 2.5 years, but I work on this weird thing called KZR all the time. It's like weird electronica beats and like electronica production. I'm just trying to keep the music going by doing that. I've only released one weird song on Bandcamp with it, but there's like 3 mixtapes that are like 20 minutes long each. I don't know. I'm not really hyped to share it because
that's cool.
It sounds weird, but it's been fun. You know, it's been cool to break out of my usual singer-songwriter box. I've got 3 singles.
Yeah.
4 singles on the back burner, fully produced in my like Joel Robert Kaiser. I go by Joel Robert Kaiser as an artist. But
oh, really?
Yeah, but I don't
Yeah.
like. I also don't, you know, if I play shows again, I would never like have the people, you know, introduce me or introduce myself as I'm Joel Robert Kaiser. But it's just good. It's good for the title. It works. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still do the music for the little like promo pitch videos for the SpokeTek stuff, and music's at the heart of it.
Okay. That's cool.
Because like I'm trying to think of his name. CEO of Slack has a studio beside his office. He's a musician, songwriter. And
no way.
Yeah, and so when I heard about that,
really?
Like, yeah, absolutely. And I was like, man, that's inspirational. I really want to be able to do that. I want to be able to,
that's cool.
Express while also working on the company. Like, you know, if you're nonstop on something and don't have creative outlet as a creative, things get stale, especially in a business, like in a corporate setting.
Yeah.
You got to really come with creative solutions. And for me, music helps with that. I don't know if people resonate with that who are in business and we're musicians, but more than ever, getting into the tech scene here in Nashville, so many people who are musicians are like trying out tech, songwriters especially, because building a business, you have to have everything harmonized. You have to have different things working together. There's different, a song is like, it sounds corny, but a song is like a business. Like, you have to ideate it, you have to execute it, you have to have different things harmonize and have different segments of it that all
Yeah.
work together to have a bigger picture and have your listener or adopter like resonate with what your story is, what your mission is.
100%. Okay, so a couple of things. I want to go back real quick. The music video that essentially helped like bring its way over to SpokeTek, just so people can look it up, and I can link it into the like description too of this podcast. But
Yeah.
it's PLSR, and the song was I. What was the song title? Hand?
Heat,
Heart?
HEAT.
Heat.
Yep.
Okay, Heat. Okay, so we'll put that just so people can go check it out, and then we'll obviously on your page we'll link. I want to link PLSR. I really want to link your Joel Robert Kaiser stuff because is that the song? Is that where Pity's under or no?
Yeah, Call It Pity is under Joel
Your song
Robert
Pity?
Kaiser. I've got a whole playlist I'll send you that has, the stuff I wrote for
Yeah,
Glass Oaks.
sweet,
And Glass Oaks was, the band that
perfect.
started Lynch Stock with Johnny Gregoire. And rest in peace to our brother,
Yeah,
I still have his
yeah, I
picture out on
know.
my
Yeah.
nightstand every night. Got my Alma's picture out now. She passed away. End of
Oh,
21. And yeah, so I mean, yeah, lots of good things, in the works. But man, it's been, as you know, firsthand, it's been a hell of a journey.
yeah. No, I totally resonate though with like the like business and music thing, and it actually for me hearing you say that it really resonates, but then also kind of like I feel like affirms how I've been feeling because I a lot of my friends that are musicians, they're and maybe I'm saying this and just not thinking clearly, but a lot of them are like doing the music thing and then they have the job that helps support the music thing. But I don't know many that are doing the music thing while also trying to build a business. And for me, felt at times like almost like this identity crisis
Yeah.
because who I am in the core, like I just know there's no question, like I just am a songwriter, like it's just so a part of me.
Yep.
And I feel like when I was just doing the music thing, like I when you're pursuing music full time as an artist, like you said, like it can get stale, it can get confusing, you don't know where to go, everything's oversaturated nowadays. You have to also be really good at like marketing and social media to even be a musician, and it's just a lot. But with doing the business side or like nonprofit with I Love the Way You Lyme, I'm learning so much about, like you said, like building and all it takes to make a business function, that I've been able to like see like, okay, these are the elements I should carry over into doing my music and maybe wanting to make this more a thing. And it's almost, for me, it's almost easier to like pursue the I Love the Way You Lyme in the business side because there's more that makes sense the more you learn about it and get into it. And it feels like the music side's more risky, but more recently where I feel like I have finally come to like a peace with this, and this is literally just within like the last month, I would say, maybe even less. When I went to Nashville earlier, the beginning of this year for a wedding,
Yeah.
I was so terrified that I was going to like leave there upset and feeling like I can't believe I'm not here, like
Yep.
I'm missing out. And there was elements that like I totally miss being down there, like I miss, like writers rounds and going out and hearing music, and there's a part of me that like I definitely want to keep coming down and visiting more, but I was worried that I was going to feel like I made a mistake moving back home, even though when I moved back home all those years ago, I had no choice because of like treatment and stuff.
Yep.
But now I came back feeling like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Like, I'll always have music. I'll always be writing songs. I'll always be pursuing it in some manner. And if it works out, it's because it's supposed to. But
Yeah.
there's no way I would ever in a million years give up what I'm doing with I Love the Way You Lyme to just do music, because I have purposes in each, I'm finding, and they kind of have like almost like complemented each other too. It's just so weird because you never like I don't know if you ever thought one day I'm gonna own a tech company or like pursue a tech company. I never literally ever would have thought I would start a nonprofit and like
Right.
even know what I was doing. But it's just like the way life works itself out. It's really cool. It's like so it was encouraging to hear you say that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, don't stop either route, because one will help out the other and vice versa. And I mean, as you saw,
Mm-hmm.
the first event, that's what it was all about. You're hosting, you're playing a song, it's uniting
Mm-hmm.
people over the cause. And yeah, absolutely. You're not missing out on anything. Anyone who says you got to be somewhere to make something happen is totally wrong. Like, networking in person is good,
Mm-hmm.
but it hasn't. It's all about what you're delivering, what you're sharing. Community is online now, as like we're doing, and it's not totally online. I'm not
Yeah.
saying don't do the in-person events, but yeah, you can make it all.
Yeah.
You're making it happen. It's not just that you can make it happen. You're making it happen. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, it definitely,
Yeah. No. Yeah.
it's definitely intimidating, but stay the course.
Mm-hmm.
I was just telling my sister that,
Yeah.
like, perseverance. That's the main thing. And I know people will get tired of hearing that,
Mm-hmm.
but when it feels overwhelming, you take a deep breath, you get grounded, you do what grounds you. Take a moment for yourself.
Yeah.
Nothing gets built in a day, just step by step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. I actually, so there was times in my life, I'm like, my first tattoo, it's like one of those things where you got it and I'm like, I like it, but don't really love it. Anyways, it was Persevere. I was like one of the Risk Girl tattoos.
Nice.
And it's so funny. I got it when I was 18. It was when I first started having the body pain, and I had no idea like what was ahead for me. But it was just funny. I just thought of that when you said that. But so I want to ask a couple of things. I was going to ask what helps you kind of like, besides working on like the music and the business, like what do you do for grounding? And then the other thought I had in my head was um congratulations, by the way. I already said that, for being engaged. I'm so
Yeah.
excited for you. I'm dying
Yeah.
to meet your fiance. So hopefully next time, I'm hoping to do an I Love Louis Lyme event sometime this year in Nashville again, since it's been a couple years.
Yes.
So hopefully I'll get to meet her then.
Absolutely.
But I didn't know that she has like autoimmune. So a couple things. What do you do to help ground you? And then also, what's that like with a partner, with like you both having your things? Because that's something that I've talked with a couple other people. I was actually Jake Myers. He was 2 episodes ago, and he has Lyme. And so we were talking a little bit about how like his wife helps him. And hopefully we'll have like a podcast episode with her. But it's a whole nother thing once you're in a relationship
Yeah.
and then you're going to be married, like helping each other when you both have your things. So what's that like?
Well, for me, I'm more able-bodied, and like she is as well. Like, she works full time. She's an esthetician, and she'll go
Oh,
through
awesome.
flare-ups. But Brooke is very strong, very strong-willed. Talk about persevering, and
Mm.
the way I get grounded, exercise.
Yeah, you're talking about Brooke. Yeah.
Yeah, Brooke is
Mm-hmm.
she grounds with meditation, and really just having an environment that is conducive to healing. And we're both finding, like, organizing,
Mm-hmm.
keeping things together in our living space is of utmost importance. I can get a little scrambled with so many things going on in ADHD, but, again, discipline towards organization and keeping things in order, and just like frequently keeping things in order is really important. But for me, grounding, for me personally, and it's why it's kind of hard being in a city, and is literal grounding, getting my socks and shoes off and getting in the grass. So doing it as often as possible. And the only grass we have near our place is a dog park, so I can't really do that. But there's places, there's good parks that we go to, Shelby Park and Shelby Bottoms. It's where Brooke and I actually got engaged, and where we proposed to each other.
Oh, nice.
Shelby Park or Shelby Bottoms. And going there, getting my feet in the grass. That and being organized, having a schedule. I used to fret having a schedule like it was the end of my life. Like I wouldn't be free. I'd be trapped. I'd become an automaton.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
And it's the complete opposite. The more things are in order, the more free time you have to relax, to be creative, to like open up and be a little more free. And so, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyone who's feeling scrambled or overwhelmed, take a moment for yourself. Whatever you're working on, unless you're in college and the assignment's due tomorrow, like, take a deep breath, take a moment for yourself, ground literally if you can, and maybe just take a moment to tidy up your environment, your room, your living room, your office. These all seem like mundane things, but it all piles up internally, externally, and so you just gotta keep it managed.
Yeah. No, that's all good stuff. It's like they're good reminders. And I think sometimes the like most simple stuff is the hardest things to remember. And I know for me, like I can get really kind of too like disorganized or disheveled or plan too many things. And then I'll like have a moment where I'm like, wait, when was the last time I just like went for a walk or like sat outside for a little bit? And it's like, it seems like we should be able to remember that because it is such like simple human things, but it really is like not always easy to remember. So
it's very difficult. It's very difficult, and it's very easy to get wrapped up in the whirlwind of things, but take time for yourself. And like you said, walks. Brooke and I take walks often. That's like a really big grounding thing for us. It's exercise. It's time to talk about life. It's time to just be together in silence as we walk. Whatever happens, that's like one of the biggest things is walking around the town.
Yeah. I think it's neat that obviously I hate for her that she has to deal with autoimmune issues. But I think that it's really neat that she has you, because although you have like different things that you've gone through with Lyme, the fact that you've had like your sisters and your mom go through things, you are able to like relate in a way or understand and be empathetic. And that is really huge for someone going through autoimmune or Lyme or whatever their symptoms are. And it seems like everyone would, like, you kind of like would expect people to just like empathize and get it. But from everything I've noticed, it's just not always normal to have a partner who understands or can at least be empathetic. And like for me, that was something like absolutely huge with Andrew, my husband. Like I didn't even have to really, he didn't know much about Lyme or really anything, but he also like, I didn't have to sit and explain everything. He just like listens and hears and learns and absorbs. And it's just huge to be able to have like a partner who supports you and is like that. So I think that's neat that you guys have each other and can relate in different ways like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brooke supports me. I mean, in so many ways. Like, so it is essential to having a partner that understands and not only supports you in what you're going through in terms of health or mentally, but like someone who believes in what you're doing and what you're building and where your passions are. Someone who aligns with that, and even if they don't participate in it per se, it's the fact that they are supportive of it and believing in you. So that's huge. Shout out to Andrew.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so huge because you have to like, oh my gosh, just the amount of times that I'll just like talk about I love the way you Lyme stuff with Andrew and like he's so nice about it, but building something is a lot for you in general, but then yeah, your partner has to like put up with that and support you. So that's really awesome that she supports you with that. Andrew does
Yeah,
too, and it's yeah, not
it's
only
everything.
with the symptoms and stuff like that, but with the business side. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
Yeah, that's cool. And then are there any like podcasts or books or like products or anything that you found that like help you with whether it's like your symptoms or anything like that that help ground you?
Like I said, Atomic Habits. I'm barely into it, and it's already been very helpful.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And podcasts. If you need a good laugh, jump into Smartless. It's a little crass, but if you need a good laugh, jump in
Okay.
there. I think you're taking a huge step in doing I Love the Way You Lyme and getting both everyday people's stories, friends' stories, family stories, hopefully celebrity stories soon. I think is going to be huge, and spreading the message of like what this community needs, and it's more than a community, like we've been saying. It's an
Yeah.
epidemic. It's millions of people. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else.
Yeah.
Really, what was I think Small Town, Big Arts. Jeff Kirshner from the Academy Center of the Arts in Lynchburg. He's got that going on. It's all about.
Wait, what is this? Is this the album?
No, it's it's podcast.
Oh, okay. Small Town Big Arts.
Yeah, Small Town, Big Arts, and yeah, it's good. It's he's early in it. I think they're like 10 episodes in, talking about arts initiatives in small towns like Lynchburg, and I love that stuff. No, it's a little not really related to what we're doing, but at the same time, it is. We're doing music.
No, it's
So
good. Well, I appreciate you sharing everything.
yeah,
I know that it's not like always easy or comfortable, but I think like kind of like you said, sharing people's stories and to like the biggest thing about doing that I love the Wee Lime artists is or creatives, business owners, whatever it is showing my hope is that like people will listen to this and hear, oh cool, like so he had Lyme and then maybe still has these like lingering things, has family affected, but like he still does music in an aspect, has done music, and then also you started like this business. To me, I just want people to be inspired to see that no matter what level of like Lyme has affected you or your family, like it doesn't have to take over your life. It's possible to pursue your dreams or career, and that's not going to look the same for everyone, but you can still at least like chip away and have at it, I think. So
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
I really appreciate you being on. Is there
Thanks
anything
for
else that
having
you
me.
want to add before we go?
Just be on the lookout for
Cool.
this
Yeah.
be on the lookout for the SpokeTek beta software. We're starting with telemedicine, but we'll be scaling towards a business to customer application where it's like peer-to-peer, non-native monolingual or single language speaker with other non-native monolinguals. And that's called Paralita. And it's
Okay.
a word from Esperanto or Esperanto language is a made-up language in the 70s that was supposed to be like the world language. And it means spoken.
What?
In that language, Paralita does. So, I'll share the link to our explainer video for that, but that comes later. I wanted to start with a social network, and that isn't about posting. It's just about connecting with other non-native speakers to basically like meet people that you align with. So like you meet over interest-based tags, and you can like select the location that you're traveling to, business travel, personal travel, and connect with people for business, for personal, and chat in the translated chat room, and then enter into a video conference where you interact via your digital twin interpreters. So it's yourself as your own interpreter at a fully comprehensive level. It's your face, your mouth movements, all in sync with speech-to-speech interpretations. And I'm hoping that we can scale towards that quickly because that's more fun to me. But I want to take care of something that's purposeful and add value in a space that I think needs a lot of help, and that's healthcare. And hopefully with the connections I'm making in health, digital health, we can, get I Love the Way You Lyme linked in and make things happen in this avenue.
There you go.
Because it's necessary, not just like important. It's necessary that people find a community and resources to start rebuilding their lives, especially people that are getting hit with it later in life in the late 30s, 40s, and just like, what the heck?
I know.
All of the momentum just taken out from under them. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, of course. And then hopefully, I know you've played, I think you played both I Love the Way You Lyme shows, or you at least played one.
Yeah.
But I do not remember correctly. Yeah. Yeah. So next one we'll have, obviously I'll reach out to you, but I'd love to have you play. And I know you said, two more things I want to share. One, when you said that Vacation Manor, I completely forgot we were in that garage house thing. And I remember them playing Sick and Tired, and I don't even think they heard it. I don't even know if they've heard the voice memo and us running through it. And I just will never forget that feeling of that was the first time I ever played one of my songs with a band.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest feeling. And it probably for them, it was just like another practice, another like whatever rehearsal or jam or whatever. But for me, that was like totally a almost like a mind altering moment because I hadn't heard any of my music in band form before, but I could hear it in my head. Like every time I write a song, I already hear how it's supposed to sound and how the band's going to sound, but I didn't have any way of translating that at the time. So that was like such a cool moment. That's like nothing to do with Lyme, but I love that so much. And then the other thing was, you said, in the beginning, like that maybe Lyme isn't as prevalent in Nashville, but what's so crazy is, and maybe it's just because that's where I started sharing my story, so maybe that's how I've connected with so many people. But when we had the I Love the Way You Lyme show there in 2019 in May, we had a meetup. I don't think you were there. We had it you went to the show, but it was the night before we had a dinner, and we had like over 30 women, and there was a couple, maybe there's only one guy there with Lyme come. And then at that show the next day, we had even more people with Lyme at the show. I wish I'd gotten a group photo with everyone because there was so many. And so it just goes to show, like, and not everyone was from Tennessee. Like a lot of people had moved there from different cities.
Pretty
But
good.
even in Nashville right now, so far, that's like one of the biggest communities in I Love the Way You Lyme where people are at. And you would just never think Nashville.
Yeah. Well, it's everywhere. So, like you
Weird,
said,
right?
I'm still getting educated on
Yeah.
the far reaches of this terrible disease. But yeah, I mean, that's great that Nashville's got one of the biggest communities. Yeah, I mean, you got to come back, got to do another event. We'll make it bigger and get even more promotion ahead of it this time. And I mean, the turnout was great both years. So we'll just keep it going. Got to keep the work going. Keep persevering, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love it. I think that's a good note to end on.
Cool. Very cool. Well, thank you for having me. Thanks again. It's been great. It's been great catching
Awesome.
up.
All right. Yeah, thanks for being on.
All
Sweet.
right. Talk soon.